Hello, little children. This is Mr. Moorhead coming to you live from Moorhead Studios in lovely, sunny, beautiful Garner, North Carolina. I wonder what we're studying today. Oops, there it is. Important geography terms. Now, I will tell you this. We used to have a test, a NCFE. It was a big test. It was kind of like the EOG of social studies. I don't know if we're having that this year. I don't know when we're going back to school exactly. I don't know what I'm going to wear tomorrow, guys. I have no idea. So the thing is that when we had that test, there were three words that would always appear on it. So the social studies teachers got together and said, you know what? We might need to have a lesson on just these important terms. So that's what we're going to look at today. Okay, so we're wrapping up geography, that I do know, and these are kind of the final three things we need to study. The first thing that we're going to talk about is culture, and I will read it straight to you. It's the custom, arts, social institutions, and achievements of a particular nation, people, or other social group. So even within the United States, we have like lots of different cultures you can look at it, but in general, most people understand that if you walk up to them and say hello and extend your hand, this is before COVID, that you're shaking hands. You get it. Now, it's difficult for me to do this on a knock. I can probably clap it. Most people can finish that with the reason. That was a song, if I'm not mistaken, called The Barbershop and a Shave that's maybe 90 years old. I've never heard of it, but I know that pattern. I know that rhythm because it's part of our culture. The same way that if I showed you a picture of Spider-Man, you would know, oh, that's Spider-Man, even though Spider-Man came out 70 years ago. You would understand Scooby-Doo, even though that came out maybe 70 years ago. All right, you would understand the Civil War that's 150 years ago, or maybe the American Revolution, or stories like Bigfoot. Okay, so those are things that are in our culture. I'm going to add a word, it's not on the screen. It's subculture. Okay, subculture is like a subsection of the main culture. We have these everywhere. Skateboarders. If you listen to skateboarders talk at a skate park, they're talking with words that maybe you don't understand, or they mean something different to them than they do to you. Same way my little boy is a wrestler. If I said slide by to a double chicken wing, he would understand that. If I went up and said that to someone in my class, they would say, oh, you're a crazy man. You crazy man. All right, because within the subculture of wrestling, like those are terminology, that's terminology that most people use. All right, so culture and subculture. It's a culture inside of a culture. All right, moving right along, deforestation. This is the permanent removal of trees to make room for something besides forest. Guys, we don't have to go any further than Johnson County for this. At one time, Johnson County was entirely a forest. You've seen at first, the trees were removed for farms, and then eventually kind of the farms are removed for housing. So even at our school, if you look to the right or to the left or across the street, all of those were forests at one point, and the forests have been removed. Deforestation, you can see a lot of impact. It impacts air quality, it impacts habitat. I have been a hunter throughout different parts of my life. I've stopped hunting recently, but in my hunting days, I've never seen a coyote and I've never seen a wolf. Recently, I've seen a red wolf. It was near the road. And in my neighborhood, I see coyotes constantly. I've seen them at White Deer Park. You can hear them at night. So the reason, before I'm in an area that has a lot of forests, they've got a lot of places to hide. They're not going to get near people. Now we've kind of cut into their homes. So they're popping up in neighborhoods where they normally wouldn't have been. Again, deforestation, the permanent removal of trees to make room for something else. Our final one, desertification. You see the word desert there. This is a process where we have an area slowly become desert. Now, sometimes it can be naturally occurring. So you have several years of like drought, there's little rain, it's very, very hot. Deforestation can cause this, where you have cut down trees, and eventually we have desert areas creep in, or just inappropriate agriculture, people over farming. I will say that third one, inappropriate agriculture, that is the one that you will see most often. People have farmed the land in very dangerous ways, or they farmed it too much. And it's caused the ground to become loose. It's caused the soil to lose nutrients, and eventually we get kind of this creeping in of the desert. Now, Africa has one of the largest, well, the largest desert in the world, the Sahara. We've got another really large desert in the south called the Kalahari. And if you look at this picture here that I have on the right, those are giraffes. That would be weird that in the middle of the desert, somebody carved giraffes on a rock. That's because probably archaeologists think at one time that desert, which is the size of the United States, probably wasn't a desert. It's probably a grassland. So you have to think about it. Maybe there was a civilization there. It's kind of covered up. It's disappeared. Those people had to move. So we don't see this as much in North America, in even the areas here that have deserts, like say Utah or New Mexico, or even Mexico to our south. We don't see this desertification as much. This is a major problem specifically within Africa. It impacts the amount of land people have to live on. It impacts where animals live, and it impacts money too. It's tough to make money in a desert area. So you see economies suffer as well. All right, our three words: culture. We added subculture in there. We have deforestation and desertification.